The Dishonest Servant and the Wicked Master. In the heart of a lush green valley, there lived a hard-working man named Kofi. Kofi was a servant to a rich farmer, Master Kwame, who owned vast lands and many cattle. Every day, from dawn till dusk, Kofi toiled in the fields, planting seeds, tending to crops, and taking care of the livestock. Despite his hard work, Kofi was paid very little for his efforts, barely enough to feed himself and his family. His meager wages and the unfair treatment he received from Master Kwame made him grumble and murmur under his breath. One day, as Kofi was working in the fields, a grand procession passed by. It was King Amani, the wise and just ruler of the land, who was traveling through the valley. The king noticed Kofi working diligently but also noticed the look of discontent on his face. Curious, King Amani stopped his carriage and approached Kofi. "Good day, hard-working man," the king greeted. "Why do you murmur and grumble while you work?" Startled, Kofi looked up and saw the king. He bowed low and replied, "Your Majesty, I am grateful for your concern. I work hard every day, but my master, Master Kwame, pays me very little. I struggle to make ends meet, and it feels unfair after all the labor I put in." The king pondered for a moment and then asked, "Tell me, Kofi, are you an honest man?" "Yes, Your Majesty, I am," Kofi replied without hesitation. King Amani smiled and said, "I have a task for you. Here are 2 bags of gifts. One is small and the other is large. The small bag is for you, and the large one is for your master. Deliver them as I have instructed, and your honesty will be rewarded." Kofi took the 2 bags and bowed again. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will do as you have said." As the king and his entourage moved on, Kofi couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. He looked at the 2 bags and thought to himself, "Why should I, who work so hard, receive the small bag while my master who does nothing, gets the large one? The king must be mistaken, or perhaps he is testing me." With these thoughts in mind, Kofi made a decision. He decided to switch the bags, taking the large one for himself and giving the small one to his master. "Surely, I deserve more for all my hard work," he reasoned. When Kofi returned to the farm, he handed the small bag to Master Kwame and kept the large one for himself. Master Kwame, curious about the gift, opened the small bag and was astonished to find it filled with gold coins. He shouted with joy, "I am rich! I am rich!" Hearing his master's exclamations, Kofi eagerly opened his own bag, expecting an even greater reward. To his dismay, he found nothing but seeds inside. Confused and disappointed, Kofi sat down and pondered the situation. It was then that he realized the king's true intention. Kofi's greed had led him to choose the larger bag, thinking it held the greater reward. In reality, the small bag, which was rightfully his, contained the wealth he had hoped for. The large bag, meant for his master, contained seeds, symbolizing growth and potential. Kofi learned a valuable lesson that day. Honesty and integrity are far more rewarding than deceit and greed. By trying to take what was not meant for him, he lost the true gift that the king had intended for him. Feeling remorseful, Kofi took the seeds and planted them in the fields. Over time, the seeds grew into a bountiful harvest, providing more food and resources than he could have ever imagined. The work was hard, but the rewards were honest and fulfilling. Kofi's story spread throughout the kingdom, and many came to know of the lesson he had learned. King Amani, upon hearing of Kofi's transformation, decided to visit him once more. "Kofi," the king said, "I see that you have learned the value of honesty. You have turned the seeds into a prosperous harvest, and for that, I commend you." Kofi bowed deeply and replied, "Your Majesty, I have learned that honesty is indeed the best policy. I am grateful for the lesson you have taught me, and I will carry it with me always." King Amani smiled and said, "You have proven yourself to be a man of integrity. From this day forward, You shall be rewarded for your hard work. You will no longer be a servant but a steward of the land, overseeing its growth and prosperity. With the king's blessing, Kofi's life changed for the better. He became a respected figure in the community, known for his honesty and diligence. Master Kwame, too, learned to treat his workers fairly, inspired by the example set by Kofi. And so, the tale of Kofi, the hard-working servant, and the wise king spread far and wide, reminding everyone that honesty is the foundation of a good and prosperous life. Dive into a world of folk tales and become a folklore expert. Subscribe now and let's share amazing stories together. Remember to comment and share.